There was an election in Local 627. Elections in our union were for a term of office of 3 years. So
that was around December.
yeah, so that was December, and then otherwise, if all had gone according to plan, then those new officers would have taken office the following month in January of '81. Okay, but instead, International imposed trusteeship in January of '81, and when they do that, they take over the union. They take over all its assets, all of its records. They vacate all the offices in the union. They send in an administrator, that guy Leroy Worley, who was a general organizer of the International, and that guy just runs your local. Here's what happened is that you got those three factions that I talked about: the Workers' Viewpoints, the Communist Labor Party, USNA, and the Workers' Congress folks. And with that, another faction comes into being, which is the Cherokee Loyalists. Okay, because by this time, well, the shit's hit the fan with Workers' Viewpoint, and Cherokee and his brother Gilbert are fired, and a lot of the folks that were their traditional allies in the yard. Their mid-range goal was to place themselves in Cherokee's position to take control, undivided control of the local. They didn't want to share it with CLP people. They feuded them all the time with those. And when the Workers' Congress people made overtures to the Workers' Viewpoint people, they couldn't be bothered. They told the Workers' Congress people, Workers' Congress went to them with a proposal saying, can we agree on United Front work in the union that'll be helpful? And their answer back was, no, the United Front is not a correct tactic for work in the unions. These are primary organizations of the working class, which means that the party of the proletariat, namely us, must take undivided control of that organization. So no, there isn't a common understanding that we can reach. And so that was the outcome with Cherokee, is they supported the labor bureaucrat like a rogue supports a hanged man. So in addition to those three factions, by the time the elections rolled around, there was group number 4, Cherokee's Committee for a Democratic Union. So you have these contending factions that are all contesting the elections. And it is said that the Workers' Viewpoint folks won the election. They didn't. There's the way the breakdown happened in the elections. And Miguel Salas, Strongback was the name of the Workers' Viewpoint folks. And they won for business agent and president. And like I say, Gwen Ferguson was never a communist, but she was very much a part of that group. The third most important position is recording secretary, and that was won by one of the ex-Workers' Congress folks. Very, very good person. Holowach won as vice president, but vice president in an ironworkers union is about like being vice president of the United States. It means that you essentially don't have any function. So the way the Workers Viewpoint folks do that is we won the top 3 offices. Business agent, president, and vice president, but actually vice president's meaningless. The recording secretary would realistically be the third most significant thing. Then there's an executive committee that's elected that's got 5 members, and 3 of the groups, a couple of Workers Viewpoints and a couple of Strongbacks, and one member of Cherokee's group won that. And that's how the things broke down. So if you look at the actual election results, there's only one person who won a majority of votes, because you got 5 slates on the ballot, and only one person won a majority, and that was for an insignificant office called conductor. And just because I think nobody was running against it. But if you break down how the slates won, Strongback with Workers Viewpoint, they won 5 positions they ran for. Unity from the Workers Congress group, they won 5. And then the Cherokee Committee won 4 of them. So I do not remember the exact outcome of the voting, but I would judge that Salas and Ferguson in winning those 2 positions, they may have gotten like 30% of the vote. And in fact, if you go back, and then that's December 1980, and if you move forward 9 or 10 months, well, 7 or 8 months to the vote on to decertifying Local 627 and substituting USWU, you see actually there's an eerie confluence there. That there's about 1/3 of the folks support the Strongback ticket, and then about 1/3 of the vote supporting USWU to replace Local 627. So basically, even with the election victory, when you win, you win. Then actually, they had only about 1/3 support among the membership, and that was borne out by the later vote. And what you see kind of correspondingly is that when the test was Local 627 versus USWU versus NASCO, NASCO got 17 votes, and they got to be humiliated. Okay, I mean, what employer would only have like 1% of the workforce say, well, you know, I like my employer, I think we'd be better off with no union. Yeah. But basically, the adherence of all of the other slates in the election in December 1980 basically coalesced and voted for 627 in the certification vote.